Blood was absolutely boiling. One minute I was politely helping out some entitled tourist in a department store. The next she was practically spitting in my face, calling my culture backwards and shoving me. Yeah, you heard that right. A full-on aggressive shove right there in the middle of a perfectly calm Japanese department store. The manager, bless his quick-thinking heart, was already on the phone with the police, and I just stood there, shaking, wondering how the hell I'd gone from a casual shopping trip with friends to a full-blown international incident. It all started innocently enough, just a regular afternoon. My friends and I were enjoying a leisurely wander through a department store here in Japan. As a local and someone pretty fluent in English, I'm used to being the unofficial translator for my foreign friends. I don't mind it, honestly. I actually enjoy helping people navigate the language barrier. It's kinda my thing. That's when Karen entered the picture. You know the type? Loud, dressed like she just rolled out of a five-star resort but somehow still looked tacky, with an air of absolute self-importance. She had a companion with her who looked perpetually embarrassed, but Karen herself had no shame. She zeroed in on me, probably because I was speaking English with my friends. She didn't even say excuse me, just barked, "Hey you speak English, right? Translate this for me? I'm usually happy to help," but her tone immediately put me on edge. Still, I took a deep breath. "Sure, I can help you with a few things," I said, trying to keep my voice even. She shoved a product in my face. I started to explain what it was, but she cut me off, mid-sentence with a dismissive wave of her hand, like my words were just background noise she had to talk over. Then came the million-dollar question, is this tax-free and will it work in America? Now, I'm just a guy enjoying his day off. I'm not a customs agent or an electronics expert. Honestly, I told her, I don't really know about the tax laws for tourists, or if the voltage would be different in America. You'd probably need to ask an actual store employee. They'd have all that information. I tried to be helpful, to guide her to the right resource. But Karen wasn't having it. Her face contorted. "What do you mean you don't know?" she snapped, cutting me off again. "Isn't this your country? You live here, right? Why are you so useless? In America, we know these things. Your system is just backwards." That's when something inside me snapped. Backwards? My culture? My country? All because I couldn't answer her incredibly specific employee-level questions? The helpful, polite Taro evaporated. "Look," I said, my voice dangerously low, my hands clenching into fists at my sides. "I'm not an employee here. I'm a customer. If you want answers about tax-free shopping or product compatibility, you need to find someone who works here. I'm done translating for you, especially when you're going to be rude and insult my culture." I was shaking with suppressed anger, but I wanted to make myself clear. Karen's eyes narrowed, a cruel smirk playing on her lips. "Oh, so now you're too good to help? Typical. You're all so unhelpful and rude here." And with that, before I could even process it, she pushed me. A definite two-handed shove against my chest. It wasn't hard enough to knock me over, but it was enough to send a shockwave of disbelief and pure, unadulterated rage through me. Before I could even react, or she could say another word, I heard a sharp, authoritative voice cut through the store. "Okyoku-sama, jincha wo yabimasu." Customer. "I'm calling the police." It was one of the store managers who must have been watching the whole spectacle unfold from behind a display. He'd already pulled out his phone, his face grim. Karen, for the first time, looked genuinely shocked, but it quickly morphed into indignation. She started blustering about harassment and false accusations, but it was too late. The manager was already explaining the situation to the dispatcher, pointing directly at Karen. Her friend, meanwhile, looked like she wanted to melt into the floor and disappear. The police arrived pretty quickly, and let's just say Karen's "I want to speak to your manager" routine didn't go over well with Japanese law enforcement. They weren't interested in her entitlement, only the physical assault. I gave my statement. The manager backed me up, and Karen ended up being escorted out, facing potential charges. It was an absolutely wild end to a simple shopping trip, and definitely proof that no good deed goes unpunished when a Karen is involved.
Hey, real quick before the next one, if you're enjoying this, subscribing helps a lot. All right, story number 3 coming up.
The phone rang, a shrill, insistent warble that sliced through the peaceful hum of our new apartment. My girlfriend's name let out a long-suffering groan from the couch. "Don't you dare answer it, Jasper," she mumbled into her pillow, already defeated. But I ever the optimist, or perhaps just a glutton for punishment, picked it up. "Hello?" I ventured, bracing myself. "This is Mr. Davies from Davies & Associates, representing the Grandeur Art Expo," a stiff, unyielding voice announced without preamble. "We understand you've been actively discouraging potential attendees. Care to explain yourself, sir?" My brain sputtered. "Discouraging? Art Expo? What in the actual hell was he talking about?" "I'm sorry, who is this again? And what are you even talking about?" I asked, my voice rising in disbelief. This was it. This was the moment our seemingly innocent decision to get a landline for our new place, a quaint, old-school gesture to connect with family, had officially plunged us into an absurd, infuriating war we didn't even know we were fighting. It all started innocently enough, a few weeks after we moved in. The first call was a telemarketer, standard fare. I politely told them they had the wrong number and hung up. Easy. But then the calls started coming for something called the Grandeur Art Expo. At first, it was just a trickle, a wrong number here and there. We'd exchange bewildered glances, shrug, and go about our day. But soon it became a steady stream. Every single evening, the phone would ring, and on the other end, it was always someone asking about an art expo we'd never heard of. "Who is this Grandeur Art Expo?" Girlfriend's name finally demanded one night, slamming the receiver down after the fifth call. "And why do they think we work for them?" We tried everything, politely explaining, firmly demanding to be removed from their list. Yelling, even, a few times usually after a particularly egregious interruption to dinner. Nothing worked. We even changed our answering machine message to a masterpiece of passive aggression. "You have reached the home of Jasper and girlfriend's name. We are not interested in your art expo. Please, for the love of all that is holy, do not call us again." It was a beautiful, desperate plea, and it was ignored. Utterly. We'd come home to voicemails from people asking if the expo was still on, or if we knew the gallery hours. It was like they were speaking a different language. Then came Mr. Davies, the lawyer. That call was a game changer. It wasn't just annoying anymore, it was actively hostile. "Sir, we have no idea what you're talking about," I'd explained, trying to keep my voice even. "We've never even heard of your expo until we started getting these calls. We're just trying to make them stop." But he wasn't having it. He just kept reiterating that we were harming their business. Enough was enough. We needed answers. Our next mission was clear: Operation Expo Recon. We tracked down the address for the Grandeur Art Expo store, yes, a store, and drove over armed with righteous indignation. The place was, well, it was exactly what you'd expect from a place that harassed innocent people over the phone. A bit sad, a bit dusty. We marched up to the counter. "Excuse me," I said, trying to sound authoritative. "We've been getting relentless phone calls for your expo, and we have no idea why." The young employee behind the counter blinked at us. "Oh yeah, that happens sometimes," they said, completely unconcerned. "People write down the wrong number. My blood pressure spiked. The wrong number? For weeks? For a lawyer's call. Do you have a receipt book or something?" Girlfriend's name pressed, her voice dangerously calm. "Where people write their contact info?" The employee shrugged and pulled out a battered ledger, and there it was, circled in bright red. Our brand new, unlisted home phone number. Next to it, in scrawled handwriting, was the name Mary Smith. The employee just looked at us, utterly clueless. "Yeah, someone must have put your number down to promote their event or something." Promote their event? They used our number to promote their event? My jaw clenched so hard I thought it might crack. We left that store seething. Our anger, however, quickly morphed into something far more dangerous, a perverse, dark humor. We were tired of being the victims. It was time to fight fire with Mary Smith. "All right," girlfriend's name declared that night, a wicked glint in her eye. "From now on, when the phone rings, we are Mary Smith." Our new plan was simple and utterly deranged. When the calls came, we'd answer as Mary Smith, a fictional person who had nothing good to say about the Grandeur Art Expo. We started small, just telling people Mary wasn't interested. But as our frustration deepened, so did Mary's story. "Oh, the Grandeur Art Expo," I'd say in a saccharine voice. Mary said it was an absolute travesty. The paintings were crooked, the canapes were stale, and the artists looked like they'd just rolled out of bed. Honestly, Mary wouldn't recommend it to her worst enemy. Girlfriend's name took it a step further. Mary actually lost money attending that expo, she'd lament, practically weeping down the phone. She bought a piece she thought was an original, and it turned out to be a mass-produced print from a discount store. She's utterly heartbroken. Never again. We wove tales of artistic woe, scandalous exhibits, and even made up a story about Mary developing a terrible rash from the free artisanal cheese samples. It was glorious and utterly unprofessional. Then Fred called. "This is Fred," a booming voice announced one afternoon, sans lawyerly preamble. "The owner of the Grandeur Art Expo, and I need to know why you are sabotaging my business, Mary Smith." My heart hammered, but a surge of defiant glee followed. "Fred, the big boss?" We'd finally gotten his attention. "Fred," I said, trying to sound bored, "we've told you people 100 times. We're not interested in your expo. And we certainly don't work for you. We're just two people who got a new phone number and are being absolutely bombarded by your customers because some imbecile put our number down as Mary Smith." He wasn't having it. His voice vibrated with a righteous indignation that almost made me laugh. "People are canceling. They're saying Mary Smith told them the art was fake and the food gave her hives. What kind of operation are you running there?" "What kind of operation are you running, Fred?" Girlfriend's name chimed in, snatching the phone from me. "You want to know why people aren't coming? Maybe it's because you're harassing innocent people who wanted a home phone for their grandma, not to be your personal customer service line. We've begged, we've pleaded, we've changed our damn answering machine. You brought this on yourselves." The argument raged for a good 10 minutes, Fred practically sputtering on the other end, demanding we stop, threatening legal action, accusing us of slander. We just kept repeating our story, refusing to back down. We were Mary Smith, and Mary Smith had opinions. Strong ones. After that final epic confrontation, the calls for the Grandeur Art Expo finally miraculously stopped. The phone still rings occasionally, and we eye it with suspicion. But for the most part, peace has returned to our landline. It was a long, infuriating, and frankly hilarious journey into the heart of a wrong number gone absolutely wild. We learned a valuable lesson about protecting your personal information, and we will never ever forget the legend of Mary Smith.
"Excuse me, are you going to help me or just stand there gawking?" The shrill voice sliced through the cacophony of mariachi music and market chatter like a rusty machete. I swear the air in this bustling Mexican tourist center practically vibrated with her indignation. I'm Mateo, by the way, and this, friends, is where my afternoon went from chilling vacation vibes to WTF just happened. My buddies and I were browsing some artisanal shops, dodging selfie sticks and haggling vendors when I noticed this woman. Mid-50s, a perfectly coiffed blonde bob, face flushed an impressive shade of beet red, and dressed in what I can only describe as aggressively sensible American tourist wear. She was absolutely laying into some poor young cashier whose eyes were wide with a mix of fear and utter exhaustion. "I asked if you were finished. This is unacceptable. I've been waiting for ages," she barked, tapping a perfectly manicured nail impatiently on the counter. The cashier, looking barely old enough to shave, was trying to calmly explain something in a mix of Spanish and broken English, gesturing apologetically to the customer she was actually helping. I knew that look, the "please just leave me alone" look. I'd seen it on my own face enough times dealing with entitled folks back home. Figuring it was none of my business, or rather, hoping it wasn't, I tried to subtly pivot, intending to melt into the crowd and find my friends who were probably still arguing over which sombrero to buy. That's when I felt it. A sharp, unexpected tug on the back of my head. Not just a brush, but a definite yank. My head snapped back, a jolt of pain shooting through my scalp. My long hair, which I usually keep tied back in a messy ponytail, had just been assaulted. "Hey, what the hell?" I blurted out, spinning around, my blood instantly boiling. I found myself face to face with the beet red woman, her eyes narrowed, a self-satisfied smirk playing on her lips. "Ah, good, you do speak English," she declared, as if she just cracked the Da Vinci Code. "Finally, someone can actually help me. Look, you need to apologize to that poor girl behind the counter for holding up the line. Then you can ring me up. I need to get back to my resort." She gestured grandly to the cashier, who was now staring at us, utterly bewildered. I blinked, taking a deep breath to keep from yelling, "Lady, what are you even talking about? First off, you just tugged my hair, which is completely out of line. Second, I don't work here. I'm a tourist, just like you." Her smirk faltered for a second, then quickly hardened into an expression of disbelief mixed with pure condescension. "Oh, don't play dumb with me, young man. You're wearing that dark shirt. You're obviously an employee. And you definitely need to learn some manners. You shouldn't be speaking to customers like that, especially American customers." She puffed out her chest a little, as if American was a title that commanded immediate deference. A dark shirt means I work here? I asked, incredulous, gesturing to my generic dark gray t-shirt. Ma'am, I'm wearing a band shirt. It's a Misfits tee. Do you think I'm here to sell you skulls and punk rock? Or maybe a nice novelty shot glass? My voice was getting sharper, the sarcasm dripping. And for the record, I'm behaving just fine. You're the one who assaulted a stranger and is now yelling at me for not being your personal shopping assistant? Assaulted? She scoffed, dismissing my claim with a wave of her hand. Don't be dramatic. I was just trying to get your attention. You were clearly ignoring me, and you were being rude. You need to be more polite, young man. I want your manager right now. My manager? I let out a short, humorless laugh. Good luck with that. I manage myself, thanks. And I'm telling you, I don't work here, so take your entitlement somewhere else. But you have to, she insisted, her voice rising again, now bordering on a whine. You look like you work here, and you were standing there. It's your job to help me. Just then, my friend Leo, who'd heard the commotion, finally pushed through the small crowd that had started to gather. Mateo, what's going on? Who's this psycho? He asked, eyes wide, seeing my agitated state and the furious woman. This psycho, I said, pointing at Karen, seems to think I'm an employee because I have a dark shirt and a ponytail, and she just physically pulled my hair because she needed attention. Leo's jaw dropped. She did what? The cashier, emboldened by the arrival of a third party, finally spoke up, this time in perfectly clear English. Senora, he does not work here. He is a tourist, just like you. I am sorry, but you need to leave him alone. Karen's face, already red, somehow found a new shade of furious magenta. She looked from me, to Leo, to the cashier, then back to me, her eyes darting around as if searching for a hidden camera or a logical explanation for why her reality wasn't aligning with ours. The crowd was definitely watching now, some smirking, some looking genuinely uncomfortable. This is absolutely outrageous, she shrieked, her voice cracking. I'm calling the embassy. I'm calling my lawyer. I'm never coming back to this country, she huffed, spun on her heels so fast I thought she might topple over, and stormed off, muttering about unprofessionalism and disrespect. Leo clapped me on the shoulder, shaking his head. Dude, I told you that ponytail was asking for trouble. I just rubbed my scalp, wincing. You think she'll ever figure out the difference between a Misfits logo and a shop uniform? The cashier gave us a small, grateful smile. Gracias, senor. Thank you for handling her. No problem, I said, a little out of breath. Just trying to enjoy my vacation, you know? And as we finally walked away, leaving the now quiet shop, I couldn't help but wonder if that hoodie I saw earlier would have been worth all this drama. Probably not.
This next video hits the same vibe. Check it out.